When I was in my 20s, I was really practical. I know I want a graduate degree, my father's PhD. My mom, they had an arranged marriage. She was like 17 when they got married. They came to her and were like, hey, you get married, don't worry about these high school exams. She was the daughter of a well-to-do merchant and never in her wildest dreams imagined that she would be leaving India to move to multiple countries. But in my core, I always was a creative person. I had friends that moved out to LA in their 20s and slept on couches. At the time, I was like, that's not for me. But maybe because of upbringing, maybe because of culture, who knows why, but I want the stability. I did almost all my schooling for free. I lived on campus, I taught. I didn't go to a fancy pedigree school, but I'm very proud of the degree. I went to a public land grant institution and my PhD was free. Graduated, I had zero debt. That creative impulse never went away. It's found me now. I'm 44. Here I am making films from my own stuff that I wrote in my late 20s, early 30s. It is interesting to think about what if. I am really grateful, though, that the family really grounds me. I know people who have had success the other way. It's very hard for them to ever actually find this piece that I found. That's one way that I understand it or think about it. There have to be really practical parts of it. Of course, I think about people who also can just call whoever and be like, hey, I'm doing this startup. Can you give me some seed money? Yeah, sure. Let me write you a check. I definitely went the practical route. I drove the same car for 9 years, for example, when I decided to become a novelist. I went to my husband when I quit my job and I was like, I don't need fancy vacation. First world problems, right? I could do with just one vacation a year. I don't need 3 vacations. I don't need a new car every year. Those were sacrifices. Everyone sacrifices according to their own situation. It is lonely sometimes. I wrote this whole blog post years ago about it's lonely being a rebel. You kind of have to do it because you believe in it and you wouldn't really be fulfilled any other way. There are costs and there are definitely consequences. Now that there are kids involved, for example, this movie, there's so many different ways to try to secure financing for a movie, but there's many things that I will not consider because should it go awry, not that it's going to, but if it were to, then the consequences would affect them. So I do think it's a shifting landscape, but I don't think 20-year-old me would have gotten to this place